Can carry on.
Right. Could you tell me who you are?
Yeah, sure. My name's Dave Willmott. I'm a teacher, head of technology at St Thomas More Language College in Chelsea, and I'm one of the people who's behind the scenes of the Open Education Disc.
Can you tell us a bit more about the Open Education Disc?
Open Education Disc is a DVD of free open source software, some fantastic software that's out there, and because it's free, it doesn't have a huge marketing budget pushing it, but it's absolutely fantastic for kids in school, and it's making a real difference in the lives of children, particularly in my school, who are on free school meals and just can't afford to buy software, as well as having some fairly cheap computer at home. It's making IT accessible for them, and it's enabling them to actually carry on with their education.
And what inspired you to make the disc?
It was sheer frustration on my part. It was the state of play at school was we'd got Fronter as a virtual learning environment, which was fantastic, but I would be setting homeworks and saying, right, I'd like you to do a PowerPoint of this, or I'd like you to do a word process document, or I want you to do some desktop publishing. And I'd set some work for kids to do. And what they tended to do was come back with a load of excuses because they didn't have the software at home. And it was that sense of frustration. I thought, well, I've got to do something about it. So I started with just my own groups to put together a disk of software, stick it all on there. My first port of call was to try and get them to download it. Big mistake, they just say, oh, my internet wasn't working, or whatever it was, or it was a huge thing. Or the most common one was, parents would say to them, what are you doing? I'm downloading some software. That's a big no-no, as far, you know, it's got to be illegal because, you know, that's the received wisdom. And they would put a stop on it straight away, and I'd get a stroppy phone call the following morning, and have to then patiently explain to them that yes, it is legal, it is okay. And I thought, we'll just cut all that out by putting it onto a disc, labelling the thing. I started a different disc project first of all, called the Free Software for Students disc, and Pete Kemp's Open Education Disc was already in existence. I wasn't aware of that, but we eventually kind of got to know of each other and met up, and it seemed sensible, as we were doing much the same product, to just work on the one thing and try and divide the work up between us.
And how has it panned out in terms of your school and students?
In what way, sorry?
In terms of usage.
In terms of use, about a quarter of the kids in my school are handing in work that's been produced using open source software. The large number of kids who bring in open office files rather than Word documents or PowerPoints. They're bringing in work that's been generated using open source software, and we know that they're using that because that's how it's being handed in on Fronter, or and when they bring it in on USB. So sorry, completely thrown you. They're bringing the work in that format, and so they're obviously making use of it, and they're enjoying it. I've not had anybody come back and complain about it or say they've had any major problems. I do get the occasional problem, but it's usually down to members of staff who still haven't learned that some of the bits of software are in a slightly different format.
So where can we find information about your disc?
My disc is going to be eventually phased out, and I'm going to be promoting the Open Education disc, but I've got a website called freesoftwareforstudents.org.uk, and I'm going to persist with the website because it's a much more immediate thing, and it lets kids download the software that they really need. The disc that we'll have on there will be the new version of the Open Education disc, and the slightly older version that's on there will just get sidelined slightly, and I'll just eventually phase that one out. So it'll be promoting the Open Education disc as the disc medium that people can download, and the software that people can find on the disc, and any other new things we find in the meantime. Certainly I will be putting that on there, and I think Pete's going to be putting much the same thing on his website as well.
Thank you very much.
All right.